Meet the world with rattling metal, roaring engines, and adrenaline madness on the roads. The free multiplayer action game Crossout has become even cooler. Now it has armored flyers. Where else can you attach a saw to a truck, mount a rocket launcher on a minivan, and charge into battle tearing your enemies apart? Only in Crossout. Create machines of destruction from hundreds of parts. Feed your fantasy with helicopter propellers where you can rain fire, lead, and plasma on your enemies from above, vehicles on the ground, armored flyers in the skies. This is something you wouldn't see in Crossout before. New large maps and unique mechanics will transform battles into a crazy fire.
With exit lag, you eliminate.
Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Alabama B. I had a question. Why would you ever get an Alabama when a Massachusetts is available? I was really curious. Why did they bring Alabama to the Black Friday fleet? Maybe it has to do with removing Massachusetts and a few others from the doubloon pool, but I gotta say, this is perfect Alabama gameplay right here. All right, this is exactly how I experienced this ship. For 3 hours, by the way. I played this thing for 3 hours because I could not believe that this ship was so bad to play. We just did 7,000 damage to a broadside Massachusetts. Now that he's angled, how much do you think we're going to do? If you would say less than the damage we did while he was broadside, you would be very, very wrong. 21,000 to an angled superstructure Massachusetts. Yes. 3 times what we did to his broadside. And that is just Alabama. It is very, very inconsistent. And I'm going to be very hard on this ship, even though its accuracy is technically better than Massachusetts. When it comes down to it, Massachusetts gives up main gun accuracy to gain an incredible heal, incredible secondaries, as well as general tankiness over a North Carolina. The hull is just much better. Better maneuverability, better torpedo protection, better overall superstructure, armor layout. North Carolina. The hull is just much better. Better maneuverability, better torpedo protection, better overall superstructure, armor layout, I would say. Underwater Citadel versus waterline Citadel. And Alabama gets that as well. But not the secondaries and not the healing. And that's a large portion of why Massachusetts can play so well. This isn't even the improved American heal at this point. This ship has the old American heals. And it can do damage, all right? It certainly can do damage, but I mean, here's an Alaska taking a Citadel. That's a surprise, right? Maybe not, considering I was taking Citadels playing Alaska B. Maybe Alaska has a Citadel these days. But this heal only heals 14% HP back and has an 80-second cooldown, which is the old heal. That's the standard battleship heal. But the NC heal is now 18.5%. That was the buff, or a buff, to the original American mainline battleships, and Alabama didn't receive it. The Massachusetts also has a 14% heal, but it's a 40-second cooldown. Much, much better. So when the guns feel like I'm playing a Massachusetts, and that's a sacrifice versus a North Carolina or other accurate battleships, but I don't have the utility and the incredible brawling power that Massachusetts has, it feels like such a massive downgrade, and that's why I was so disappointed while playing this ship. I still had some good games. Some of these matches lasted long enough that we were able to accumulate some damage. We earned some credits. It's a solid premium still. But considering Massachusetts is available, I cannot recommend you buy an Alabama. The only problem being Wargaming locked the Massachusetts and a couple others behind real money paywall, did not allow them to be for doubloons, which is, again, very, very disappointing. Alabama at least is available for those doubloons, but I still think there's probably some better options. But brawling it out should be a decent option with this ship, right? Relative to NC, we should be able to do some good work. At closer ranges, dispersion starts to matter a little bit less, and what we care about is our overall tankiness. That torpedo protection is a massive improvement. If you're eating torpedoes, then you shouldn't be taking quite as much damage as, say, a North Carolina, as well as this maneuverability. I can't overstate how nice it is to have this turning radius. It's so comfortable. Yes, those shells did just miss. Shells falling short feels a little bit bad. We still have our rear gun at least. But we're going to have to deal with a Bismarck now. And this should be easy, right? I always talk about this. German, large superstructure on those battleships. Even if they try to angle you at these closer ranges when they're trying to brawl, you just aim for superstructure and you do 10,000 damage AP salvos into them with your battleship. And you kind of crush them regardless of angle. And we're going to see if Alabama can accomplish that. Now, I should say, if you enjoy Alabama, keep enjoying it, all right? I'm just saying that this ship is halfway between a North Carolina and a Massachusetts as far as accuracy goes, or close enough to it. The only difference in the accuracy being Sigma. NC has 2.05. Alabama has 1.9. Massachusetts has 1.7. So pretty close to halfway between. Difference in the accuracy being Sigma. NC has 2.05. Alabama has 1.9. Massachusetts has 1.7. So pretty close to halfway between. Alabama has 1.9. Massachusetts has 1.7. So pretty close to halfway between. And it feels a lot closer to Massachusetts, in my opinion. It also has low. NC has 2.05. Alabama has 1.9. Massachusetts has 1.7. So pretty close to halfway between. And it feels a lot closer to Massachusetts, in my opinion. It also has lower HP, by the way. I'm not sure why they nerfed the HP pool down so hard. It's like 63,000 HP versus the 66,000 we see on NC and Massachusetts. Not sure why that was changed. A lot of the other characteristics are still going to be the same. And on the tin, or in the article, wherever you're going to be buying an Alabama, it's going to say it has improved AA efficiency. And don't worry, I mean, look at that disperse. I ran a full AA build and got myself into double carrier games, a few of them. So we'll see how it manages those scenarios. That's better dispersion. There we go. See, 8K. It can do it. I'm just disappointed in the consistency. And I suppose that's really what it comes down to. If my ship is not having all of those brawling benefits that the Massachusetts has, then I'm expecting much more out of the main guns. And I suppose it's an expectations thing on my part. I was expecting far too much out of the Alabama. And to be fair, I haven't played NC all that much recently. In the few games that I have in the last 6 months or so, it has trolled me as well. So it's possible that this is just how the Tier 8 American battleship dispersion looks, and my expectations are just far too high from playing other ships that have been released more recently. Things like Tennessee, for example, cruiser dispersion, 12-gun cruiser dispersion. This is only 9 guns, of course. But I still think it should do a little better, you know? Certainly it should have the heal that the North Carolina has, at the very least, I would say. That would make it a little bit more interesting. And maybe a small Sigma buff. I don't know, maybe then it's just a copy of North Carolina, but it already felt like that from back in the day, I gotta say. Bismarck about to go down. Hopefully, we can help finish him off here, and we got ourselves a close game. As always, we love close matches, and considering we haven't done too much damage yet, it's an opportunity for us to farm a little bit longer, or a little bit more. I think that's a nice feature of Alabama. It can tank reasonably well, especially because you're not going to be playing as aggressively as a Massachusetts will, since you don't need to get in range of those secondaries to make use of a valuable tool in your tool belt as a Massachusetts. Alabama plays much better at that 15, 14, 13 kilometer range. It's a mid-range battleship for sure. And hey, we take out the cruiser. Let's go. That's some consistent accuracy right there. But I'm gonna have a lot of clips. We're jumping around some of these games quickly, where otherwise I would have just let the game play out, because I want to show you a lot of these salvos. I really want you guys to just see how the different salvos work on this ship, and it has the potential to do a lot of damage. It really does, but it's just not consistent enough. This is a more standard build, I would say, that I was running here, and you're going to notice that our AA is nowhere near good enough to stop multiple strikes, at least if the carrier doesn't eat flak bursts. That's kind of how AA works these days. The continuous AA is not doing damage, right? It's not going to be enough to deal with carriers. They have to be maneuvering in such a way where they eat some of the flak bursts that do that massive chunk of damage. And that's the only way you're really going to get any meaningful output against these planes. At least that's how it's designed for now. Hopefully, Wargaming can fix carriers, but I'm not going to go into a carrier rant because this is a video on Alabama. At least not yet. We're not looking at the AA build. As we can see with the Enterprise coming in with its AP bombers, suddenly 8 plane kills appear, and we stopped that entire strike on a Tirpitz. He ate the flak burst, right? When he eats all the flak, then he loses all his planes, but when he doesn't, he gets multiples drops off. That's just how it goes. Decent damage into this Analt as well, that rear gun doing some solid work. I wish it was more... Maybe this is just me being a battleship player who wants too much consistency out of my battleships. We've talked about this multiple times, of course. I would love to see Wargaming change battleships to have better accuracy, but less overmatch. As a cruiser player, there's very little that I am frustrated by as much as random battleship overmatch when I'm playing well angled and I still eat citadels. It's so annoying playing a cruiser and having that happen. It feels like I'm being punished for just random chance and a poor game mechanic as a cruiser player. And as a battleship player, that first clip I think shows exactly where I'm so frustrated. Broadside Massachusetts, 7,000 damage. Angled Massachusetts, 21,000 damage. Here we've got a broadside Rook, and we're going to get, it's actually 21,000 damage as well. No Citadel this time. Imagine the Citadel damage we could be getting here. Not quite enough to Citadel the Rook there. Maybe I aimed a little too far forward, although he did slow down in time. I gotta say, playing with these American shells again, certainly the tier 8 American battleship shells, they are so slow. And that was fine back in the day, but these days, ships are much more maneuverable. So many more ships have much faster engines, like they just move faster, they accelerate quicker, their rudder shifts are better, they have engine boosts as well. So having these floaty shells is much more of a downside than it used to be years ago, I would say, just because people are able to maneuver out from underneath your guns a lot easier, especially as the ranges get longer. Outside 15, 20 kilometers, it really is a very, very long lead time. We do manage to come back and win this game, though. It was very close, but we do clutch it out here. And Enterprise hiding behind the island here. Floaty shells do have an advantage, though. In this case, allowing us to arc our shells over and get ourselves a decent Citadel hit into him. Not enough to quite kill him, but a decent hit. And then our Zeton there managed to push and finish him off with his secondaries. So 185k. I had some good games. I really did. But the individual salvos were just a little bit too frustrating for me. And again, that could just be an expectation thing on my part. But 1.8 million credits there, that's a really good result. Blue boosters, premium account, of course. But that's a really good result for... That's a really expectation thing on... Really did, but... The individual salvos were just a little bit too frustrating for me. And again, that could just be an expectation thing on my part. But 1.8 million credits there, that's a really good result. Blue boosters, premium account, of course, but that's a really good result for credits. So you don't necessarily need a tier 9 to farm a lot of credits. It's what I'm usually saying when I talk about you need to pick a premium ship that fits your playstyle and you're going to do well in, and that's going to net you the most credits than just picking the highest tier ship that is theoretically overpowered or very strong, even though you don't enjoy it or you don't play very well in it. It's not going to net you nearly as many credits. Hornet here comes in for a strike, and this is the full AA build. Still gets his strike off, but we do quite a bit of plane damage and remove his entire strike. This time, hoping that we can deal with the torpedo planes before they reach us. And you see those massive bursts of damage. That's him hitting some of our flat clouds, and that's what's really finishing off most of the planes. It also damages more than just the initial plane, so when you're dealing that continuous damage, it's only targeting one plane and then dealing HP damage to that. But when they hit a flak burst, that burst can damage all of the planes as well. So you're taking out a massive chunk of HP when it's the flak clouds. So that's why that's really all that matters. And I think Alabama did have especially powerful AA back when it was released before the first carrier rework. We'll see if we get a second one here in 2025 as things go. But that first one really changed a lot, and AA certainly was made a lot worse. So Alabama got nerfed down to just standard NC and Massachusetts levels. There's some small changes to the continuous, but it really doesn't make any difference. It's Massachusetts NC AA, which is fine. It can do well if you spec for it, and especially, now this is very important, especially if you don't get shot at. The less you get shot at, the more of your AA mounts are going to stay alive. And in this case here, we don't get any flak burst hits on his strike, and he comes through and doesn't really lose any planes to finish off our Pensacola that was right next to us. I'm trying not to go into a rant, but the AA I don't see as a massive strength on this ship. Certainly not relative to other ships at its tier. But I guess you're allowed to spec into it more relative to Massachusetts, say, because that one you're specking your secondaries out. Where here you don't have much to improve on this ship. It's kind of decent from base, and there's not a lot you can do to improve that. Maybe that's a good thing, I guess. Looking for positives. I'm searching for positives with this ship outside of just the maneuverability, torp protection. I guess having a ship that doesn't require you to have a 21-point commander to really get the most out of it, like a Massachusetts, say, is a benefit. So as an earlier premium, maybe with lower level commanders, this probably does perform better than a Massachusetts. But considering it's a premium, you're probably going to be farming up commander levels rather quickly. Decent amount of base XP there, I guess, for such a low damage game. And we did shoot down a reasonable number of planes and still got over 1 million credits for that game. Blue boosters, keep in mind, but it's a premium that can farm decent amounts of credits. All right, broadside Leipzig here. What do you think happens? This guy might even ground. I promise, not a paid actor. Did not PayPal this guy. This is just purely in the wild on the NA server. We wait for him to ground because anytime a ship grounds, the aiming system gets all wacky. It just does not know what to do. So we wait for him to ground. No, it's an overpen. Yeah. All right, now the skein here. I'm going to aim a little bit high here because he's probably too high, honestly. He's turning away from us, or he was pushing away from us a bit, and he turned in slightly. So my aim was too high, but still pretty impressive that not even one shell. With that, fortunately, only packs a punch. We're still taking the standard consumables here. There's no reason to go secondary. here. They just do not punch. It's pretty cool. And again, available for doubloons. I ended up running with AP to do not have our AA mount. Our main guns do get taken out sometimes, but really not too often. American battleships, of course, do not have an accuracy upgrade in the 3rd slot. That's why we're not running accuracy. Range technically gives you a small boost to your accuracy. It was data mined years ago.
Торпеды прямо по курсу. Двигатель в форсированном режиме. Пожарная тревога. Неполадки устранены. Слева по борту. Генератор запущен. Идите прямо по курсу. Генератор запущен. Двигатель в форсированном режиме. Вы последняя надежда команды. Постановка дымов завершена. Крейсер противника уничтожен.
And give third slot. That's why we're not running accuracy. Range technically gives you a small boost to your accuracy. It was data mined years ago, and well, minor, very, very minor. I'll take it. I gotta try it. You know, if I'm gonna complain about accuracy, I gotta try even the small little percentages. You noticed I was even using my spotter plane to further increase the range for closer range shots that I wanted to do the most damage possible. It doesn't improve the accuracy like a change mean, like not even I was running that. Look, protection is very nice. That turning circle radius is amazing. And our concealment is like that. It's just further. Our main gun with was this one. A little bit of AA investment.
partner.
Standing by for instructions. Over.
Enemy force detected. Autopilot mode disabled. Battleship detected. Spotter returning to ship.
Здрасте, здрасте. Я в наушниках. Как ты считаешь, американскому кораблю 8 уровня Алабама лучше, чтобы башни лучше крутились или дальность?
Airborne. Standing by for instructions. Over.
Torpedoes to starboard.
Airborne. Standing by for instructions. Over.
Я не бачу цю точку. Де понял? Я не могу всегда знать, где это.
Fire alarm. Problem solved, sir. Torpedoes, direct front.
Я без телефона ходил. И, кстати, еще молока купил. Я не помню, куда его положил. Не видел его? Не видел его? Как ты думаешь, тому же кораблю, что я сказал, капитану больше подходит, чтобы авиаудары и самолеты лучше работали у него, защита? Ну и нападение самолетное. Или ему больше подходит перезарядка бронебойных на осколочно-фугасное? Второе?
Airborne.
Spotter returning to ship.
Standing by for instructions. Over. Airborne.
Torpedoes dead ahead. Torpedoes to port. Torpedoes astern.
Standing by for instructions. Over. Airborne.
Our victory is in sight. Our victory is in sight. Torpedoes dead ahead. Torpedoes dead ahead. Torpedoes to starboard. Torpedoes to port.
Standing by for instructions. Over. Airborne.
You penetrated that hard.
Standing by for instructions. Over. Airborne.
Torpedoes to starboard. Our victory is in sight. Torpedoes to starboard. Torpedoes dead ahead. We're hull below the waterline. We're flooding quickly.
Standing by for instructions. Over.
Torpedoes dead ahead. Torpedoes to port.
Airborne.
Torpedoes dead ahead.
Standing by for instructions. Over.
Torpedoes dead ahead.
Airborne.
Torpedoes to starboard. Torpedoes astern. Spotter airborne.
Standing by for instructions. Over.
Torpedoes to starboard. Spotter destroyed. Torpedoes to starboard.
Airborne.
Torpedoes to starboard.
Standing by for instructions. Over.
Torpedoes to port. Torpedoes direct front. We're hull below the water.
У нас еще 2 молока
У нас
появилось.
еще 2 молока появилось.
Обнаружены силы противника. Вижу эсминец противника.
Корректировщик, возвращаюсь на корабль.
Пожарная тревога. Торпеды прямо по курсу. Неполадки устранены. Эсминец противника. Торпеды за кормой.
Что-то мне скинул.
Что-то мне скинул.
А, тварей?
А, тварей?
Какой заказ?
Какой заказ?
Жрачку заказал?
Жрачку заказал?
Молодец.
15 евро скидка.
Еще кока-кола.
Мне дал магазин 15 евро скидку.
Молодец.
20-ку заказываешь, 15 евро
Что
получаешь.
за магазин?
Прикольно? Только подарки выиграл.
Круто.
В календарь.
Так я бы мог забрать
Я бы
сам.
мог забрать.
Противника уничтожен.
Я еще и нажала, чтобы это была приорика доставка 80 копеек. Попросила, чтобы нам привезли перевести.
Нахуя?
Нахуя?
Ну так, захотелось мне так теорию использовать. Наша 800 копеек.
Ну так решила, ладно.
Так решила,
Просто не похуй.
Захотелось так и богатым.
А, я понял. Я тоже, мне тоже надоело
Я тоже,
жить
мне
в
тоже
нищете.
надоело
Я
жить
хочу
в
как-то
нищете.
вырваться
Я
из
хочу как-то
этого.
вырваться из этого круга.
Я хочу карту мечты
Я хочу карту
нарисовать.
мечты нарисовать.
Я хочу вот это понять.
Да, все.
Ты видишь, я сплю, видишь, я организм тут просто...
Меня начинают бесить
Меня начинают
финансисты
бесить
в конце этого
финансисты
года.
в конце этого года.
Ну эти все уебы, которые
все
делают
уёбы,
такие
которые
быстрые
делают
рывки
такие
падения
быстрые рывки
уебанские,
падения уебанские,
ненормальные,
Ненормальные.
нездоровые.
Нездоровые.
Так не кики.
Ну да.
Ну
Так
да.
что быстрое.
И 43 копейки
43
стоил,
копейки
теперь 30
стоил,
копеек.
теперь
Ну
30
как
копеек.
такое может?
Ну, как такое?
Уже второй раз такая.
Уже второй раз такая.
Они меня начинают
Меня
подбешивать.
начинают подбешивать.
Ну поняла? Типа вот это вот
Поняла? Типа вот это
короткоздельщики эти вонючие.
Короткоздельщики эти вонючие.
Не хотят сидеть в долгу.
Хотят
Все, блядь,
сидеть
снимают
дома. Всё, блядь,
ежесекундно.
снимают ежесекундно.
М. Ну, видишь, я устарел со
Видишь,
своим
я устарел со
менталитетом.
своим менталитетом.
Как от Терминатора.
Как от Терминатора.
Взлет, блин, на 3
Взлёт,
дня.
блин,
Это
на 3
ужас
дня.
какой-то.
Это ужас какой-то.
Самое интересное, не
Самое
было
интересное,
особых
не
причин
было
для
особых
взлета,
причин
как и
для
нету
взлёта,
особых
как и
причин для
нету особых
падения.
причин для падения.
Вот реально.
Вот реально.
Например, ты как бы в ресторане. А как ты приготовил?
Мгм. Прикольно.
Видишь, как хорошо.
Мгм.
По важности. По важности.
А,
А так, знаешь, что ты знаешь, когда могут брать, кататься в соседний район. А потом только повезут к нам. Машка и так делают. Ты знаешь, что они не соблюдают правила.
это приорити услуга в Макдональдсе или это услуга...
Вообще, не сделали теперь. Наверное, раньше, наверное, раньше описались, что новая доставка, что это не нравится, что, например, в мозгах приводит больше какая-то сразу. Алтон.
Или что они там?
Почему водитель прямой заказ,
Хуй в
заказ
жопу.
поехал
Хуй в
в город,
жопу,
поехал, заказал,
Не, ну можно было приорити не заказывать,
Можно
потому что все равно
заказывать,
Макдональдс.
все равно Макдональдс проходит.
Ну да, я понял.
Ну да, я понял.
Тебя бесит, что
Тебя
они
бесит,
охуели.
что они охуели.
Смотри, какой у меня корабль сегодня появился. Я Фина на него посадил. Называется Халланд. Смотри, какой. Как у викингов. Видишь?
Подожди же себе. Ага.
В смысле, уже заказ приедет? Я тогда выключаю стрим. Офигеть, заказ. За 5 минут. Ну что, приехал заказ, поэтому спасибо за просмотр. Кому понравилось видео, радуйтесь. Кому не понравилось, не радуйтесь. Ну вот, он играет похоже на Скоролину, но как по мне он точнее. 271. 209. Ну да. 243. Вот это написано. Да, но спиралина не такая точная. 30. 23. Типа более точно, Каролина. Перезарядка. 30 секунд. 39 и 1. Слушай, открывать дверь. Так.